So jhana is giving us that sort of a platform, a very, very stable ground for us to develop the insight. Yeah. Now, what is the insight? And insight has become a buzzword. What is insight? And people talk very much about vipassana. They talk about the wisdom. They talk about the insight, and they have no clue what those terminologies are. Yeah. So Buddhists very much Buddhists are also become dogmatic. They take as if the wisdom is their own word, own kind of their own ownership. They don't, wisdom is not something that only belongs to Buddhist followers. Yeah. So if we do not understand the subject matter, then we become a dogmatic. We do not say that wisdom is exclusive to Buddhism. Yeah. But what I said that panya is that kind of word that is called a knowledge that is beyond all this sort of conventional type of understanding and a sort of a projection. So that's a kind of knowledge of understanding of all these experiences. That is what the wisdom is. Yeah. In Pali, it's called Panya. And Panya it means that knowledge that you have understood the core, you have understood the essence of everything. Yeah. And whatever you uncover, if you have understood that, all the rest is just noise. Yeah. You see, if you have understood the panya in the sense that this is why the mind is getting all these experiences, all this concept, all this proliferation, all these sort of things are just fabrication of mind. And if you can see that through your mind and through your practice, that is the state of panya. Yeah. And that is totally different from the conventional word wisdom. Yeah. Wisdom is very much like, what is wisdom? Is you avoid dangers, you become kind is also wisdom. You become, you safe, that is also wisdom. Yeah. These are very much everyday terminology, but the Buddha's wisdom is about that, is how this mind works. And you have seen it for the fact that this is how the mind worked, and you found it, kind of the formula. This is how the world operates, and that's it. Now, anything that world does, you don't need to worry about that. Yeah. So now you know how this world operates. Now you have been free from the world, from this universe. That is what they said. That look, there is a state of freedom from the universe, and that is what the uh, wisdom is. The panya is. Yeah. So I uh, I have got quite a few sort of reference to support that. So and for that, I'll come back to that wisdom a bit later. So now I mentioned the jhana is very much like a base camp or some sort of a preliminary ground to develop the insight. So wisdom is the state of that sort of understanding, state of awareness that this is how the mind works, and this is how mind is burdened with suffering. Mind is dragging into this various cycle of pleasure and pain, rebirth and death, and so on. And you have seen the wisdom. What is that wisdom? Is this is how is mind when it is polluted with all these sort of processes, that mind becomes inevitably bundled into the sort of experiences, into the existence, into namarupa, in the consciousness, and it eventually end up in a death. Yeah. So you have experientially verified and tested that this is how the mind works, and that is the state of wisdom. Is that yes, in that wisdom, this is how the consciousness works, this is how the namarupa works, this is how the feeling works, this is how the rebirth works, this is what the bhava is, and so on. Yeah. So wisdom is to be able to see this process. Yeah. And seeing the kind of the empty nature of this reality, is that there is a state of being free of all this kind of uh, fabrication of mind, and how mind is being dragged into the endless chain of existence, rebirth, re-death, and so on. Yeah, there is a way out of all this proliferation, all this sort of kind of let's say fabrications, by stepping out. And that stepping out from all this sort of a loop, all this sort of a proliferation, is backing off, taking a step back, and that is what the I will describe that sort of a process uh, when we are in that sort of good state of jhana. Yeah. So being in a jhana is very much, you should celebrate, being able to experience a jhana by that sort of peaceful mean, by not suppressing anything, but by simply relaxing, by abandoning your attention. It's a moment to celebrate. Yeah. So Buddha said, jhana, one who has experienced jhana this way will inevitably experience nibbana. Yeah. In this very life. Yeah. So yeah. So if you have experience in the jhana in this manner, Buddha said that there is a sutta reference. So Buddha says there is a kind of a wood that is flowing from all the way from Himalaya through a river. If that piece of wood is not cast into the high ground, or into swept away in the current, or if it has not been taken by villagers, that piece of wood will land into the ocean. Yeah, that's it. So that means if you can practice that and not be heedless, start to indulge with a sort of all the sensual pleasure, go back to the same or old stories, then Buddha said, yeah, it is possible to lose that sort of your progress towards jhana. Yeah, if you kind of go and do steal and kill living beings, indulge in this sexual intercourse with other people, all these sort of things are still real possibility. What the Buddha says that if you refrain from the sort of base activities, then that path is clear. It is inevitable that you land into nibbana. Yeah. So that is why I say that the jhana that we experience through this siksar, if you can remain in that jhana, take a step back, and have that sort of purity of your conduct, then yeah, it's really a moment to celebrate. It does lead to that kind of a state of freedom in at any time in this life. Yeah.